Hello, and welcome to another episode of Crossing Bridges Talk Show. I'm your host, Larry Montgomery Sr. This is my co host, Will. Will, introduce yourself.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is William Montgomery, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, so now this week, um, we have some technical difficulties, but we'll get through it. We want to first start with the hot topic for the week, and that was the Supreme Court ruling striking down, was it Roe versus Wade,
Yes.
the abortion issue. I know Will has been out on the scene interviewing people up and down Washington Square, and so
Mhm.
so let's hear from him first. Will,
Well, yes, it's a hot topic. I think a lot of people have been misinformed on a lot of the excuse me, a lot of the impact that is going to happen from Roe v. Wade. From my understanding, it's limited, so just take it for informational. If you want to get more detail, definitely want to go check it out for yourself. But Roe v. Wade was what set up the trimesters. The first trimester, second trimester, third trimester. First trimester, you know, they figured that abortion at that time is not a problem. Second trimester, kind of iffy. Third trimester, the state has a interest in that life, and that's where they were drawing the line at not being able to have an abortion. So for a lot of years that has been the gold standard, and a lot of states, such as California, they really have been the one that's been violating Roe versus Wade for the longest time. They do partial birth abortions, which is way deep into the third trimester. Actually, baby's being born. If you want to look that up, be my guest. But yes, and so Roe v. Wade in certain states has not really been being followed, but what the Supreme Court just did was put it back on individual states. So California can make rules for itself, New York can make rules for itself, Georgia can make rules for themselves, and it's not a federal issue as to the limits or restrictions on it. But a lot of people in the media will have people believe that it's revoking rights, and that's not the case. So if you have any questions, look it up. You can hit us up in the comment section. But that's pretty much it. Don't let these people lie to you, get you worked up and angry about something because they want to mislead you and use your anger to further, you know, damage whatever they're trying to damage between us.
so you're saying that the Supreme Court said that it's a state issue
Yes,
from here out.
yes. As it used to be until Roe v. Wade, and then that's when the federal government made it, unanimous across all 50 states. But now all 50 states agree. So now what they did is said we overstepped 50 years ago because it should belong to the states. The states should regulate their people because their people know what they want more than the federal government knows.
So if I was a woman and
Hmm.
I lived in one state whose laws said third trimester is now illegal because that's how we roll, and I wanted an abortion at the third trimester, in the third trimester. If I went to another state whose laws are different, how would that? Could you answer that question?
You'll be able to go. It's legal in that state. You can go to that state and have it done.
Would I have to change residency in a timely manner, or it's
I
just the
couldn't
fact
speak
that I
on.
showed up?
I mean, it's like if you go to another state and buy beer, they're not going to stop you from buying it. I mean, you can't go over there and buy cases and cases of it, and they'll get you for interstate trafficking. But people did it all. People do it all the time. They fly from the United States to another country to get medical procedures done all the time. When somebody fly to California for or drive there, because most people that are doing it are not of the financial status to be able to take care of said child. So flying somewhere to get said operation done, it's probably not in the financial book or the budget for that to happen. So getting to another neighboring state that does provide that service at the time that you want it, that's always an option. Or, you know, some people would say abstinence, that's the best birth control ever. But, that's not me. That's just what it is.
Okay, so I want to thank you for that information. And let's go on to our second topic for today, which would be let me read the title because I have it written down here. Top scans that target seniors and how to avoid them. Um, you're not really a senior yet, so
Mm.
you probably don't know anything about this. Uh,
No,
I, oh, sure.
it sounded like you said scans, not scams.
Scams. CSCAMS. Good?
Okay.
So, now, since you're actually not a senior, you probably don't know much about this, but I think, I'm not sure, probably the people who are trying to perpetrate these scams are not seniors.
Probably.
I'm going out on a limb on that one.
Hmm.
So now how do we tie that conversation into a discussion on fatherlessness and fathers not, you know,
Well,
taking up their part in a child's life? Do you think that there are more scammers out there who are from broken homes where they don't have a father or didn't have a father in their life?
um, I mean, that's hard to say because some people they may have two biological parents, but if they're not there or paying attention, like emotionally and physically, it's almost the same as not having said parent, or parents. As you'll have a lot of people they just stick to being in front of the computer and their computer's teaching them everything. They're very book smart, very, you know, uh, can write code and do all these things. But like I said, they're pretty much raising themselves off the computer and some cheese doodle snacks. So when you lack the emotional capacity to care about somebody else's financial, stability, mainly seniors, you see them as an opportunity or prey, and now you're trying to take advantage of them because you don't have no connection with the rest of the world. It's like, hey, they're just people. It's just money. I can go ahead and get it. I'm not saying that all scammers are like that or have come from that background, but it's, you know, when you don't have parents in your life, not necessarily living there, but actually talking to you at least on an every other day basis, telling you what's right and what's wrong, you might go the wrong way.
Well, I certainly understand that. It'd be heartbreaking to be a parent of a child who grew up or on their way to growing up had that kind of a personality trait that scamming people out of their hard-earned money was a good thing. I certainly could, while I understand some things, that doesn't necessarily mean that I condone them. You know, you understand that there are people out there who are in need and who don't think about the big picture because they're in need and they're only thinking about survival themselves. But you also have to try to understand that this is not about you. No, I mean we all feel the other that we're on the other side of that coin. Yeah, it's about me, 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 me. Because when I'm hungry or when I'm cold, I'm the one who's hungry and I'm the one who's cold.
Hmm.
So it's kind of hard to say, well, I might not have the answer right now for myself because I'm hungry and I'm cold. But then I take a moment to stop and think maybe somebody else has the answer to help me with my hunger and my cold. As opposed to, well, look, I got to do what I got to do because I got to do what I got to do. I mean, it's a tough situation to be in, certainly, and that's why we've had the conversation about planning, mainly from a professional standpoint and also from a family standpoint. We need to understand that planning is important, and I think a lack of planning is something, or how would I say it? Um, Poor planning. Uh, you find men in a situation where they will walk away from their children or will ignore them. And I mean, I can't say that it's a sin that hasn't crossed my table, but the reality is that we're all subject to it because you
Hmm.
never know how you're going to respond in a situation until you're actually facing that situation. And so it's a difficult situation. Maybe not for the person who's walking away, but for the people that are left behind, the collateral damage, the female, baby mama, and specifically the child, because they find themselves uh, missing part of the life story that's going to help them become, you know, an adult. And so let's talk about some of these scams that are out there. Let's see.
Oh, can I throw something in there real quick?
Sure.
Because there's a saying, failing to plan is planning to fail. So if you don't plan, you're pretty much setting yourself up for failure.
The failure to plan
You're,
is a
you're pretty
is
much planning to fail.
planning to fail. That's interesting. I've heard that before. And so, okay. Now, number one on the list, and this is not in any particular order. I'm just saying this is the first one. Healthcare scam. Senior citizens are most Senior citizens are most vulnerable to health care scams, according to Todd Brooke, former associate dean and professor of criminal justice at Radford University in Virginia. Burke says scammers will call as health care or Medicare representatives to gain access to seniors' personal or contact information. They will use their contact information to call seniors back at a later date and say they spoke with their daughter, son, or other relative, and that it's okay to give them your social security numbers, driver's license numbers, or other personal information. Scammers might also offer help getting seniors medical insurance. In many cases, they use the personal information they provide to bill Medicare and pocket the money, according to the National Council on Aging. What do you think about that?
I mean, I'm pretty sure it happens because, I mean, I'm almost positive a lot of people, it doesn't matter what their age is, get those robocalls or wherever, and they're like, oh, I'm calling from Medicare, and we're just calling you about your. I'm not on Medicare, so obviously you got the wrong person. But if I was on Medicare, I might believe it, and that's where the problem ensues because it's like I'm looking for actual service that I'm supposed to be getting, and I'm believing that you're calling me to provide me that service, and without knowing, some people might fall victim to that because they're like, okay, well, yeah, I know I'm of that age, or I'm getting ready to sign up. I was going to do it next week, and here they are calling me. Wow, must be divine intervention. You know, Let me
there,
go ahead and sign up, and then
there are
they get.
many. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
Go on.
No,
Go on.
but then that's when they get your information. You said the social, the driver's license number, all these things to be able to steal their identity or make false claims, or whatever. You know.
Well, it's interesting because when you get a particular age, you become a little more uh, comfortable, you know, and you don't think that people would take the time to figure this out, how to phrase a question to get information from you that, you know, for your detriment, not to help you. And yeah, there is a seasonal thing to this because the beginning of the year,
Mm,
all December, November, December, whatever, there's this open enrollment thing.
Yeah.
And so all you're seeing is commercials about this, and you're getting these phone calls, people trying to sell you on this or whatever. So you could just give in,
Hmm.
and now you're on the train
Hmm.
to losing what you have,
Hmm.
because somebody thinks that oh, this is a good thing to do, and I can make a lot of money at it. And the thing is that, how do you recoup?
Hmm.
Once you've been scammed, how do you prove it? And will the police or FBI or whoever go after them and try to prosecute them? That's the
Probably not.
question. Yeah,
Yeah.
but then the
I
other
mean,
question is, how long is it going to take for them to do that? You know.
yeah. Well, I mean, they have some organizations out there, companies. Of course, they're going to charge you a monthly rate. Of course, I don't say none of those names because they're not supporting the channel yet. When they start putting advertisements up with us, then we'll say their names. But you can always look for yourself to see like what establishments out there provide protections for identity theft and stuff like that. And you know, if it's beneficial to you, or if it's something that you feel a service that you might need, it might be beneficial to sign up for it to, like I said, protect you and your assets, because they will try to refund a certain amount of money or provide a certain level of protection and stuff like that. But like I said, it's not a commercial for them, so they won't get their name mentioned just yet.
All right, let's go to the next one. Great grandchild scam.
Mm.
Scammers will call seniors pretending to be a grandchild or great grandchild and try to get money. Burke says, before paying them, make sure the person is an actual relative. A scammer will place a call to a senior citizen, and when the mark picks up, the fraudster will say something like, "Hi, Grandma, do you know who this is?" When the unsuspecting grandparent guesses the name of a grandchild, the scammer most I'm sorry, sounds like the scammer has established a fake identity. Once they establish a relationship, they ask for money. They'll know just enough information that they get from Facebook and other social media websites, such as where the grandkids live, where they are vacationing, or other personal details, and use this information to get the senior to open up. Burke says if the scammer is calling from a cell phone with bad reception or a Bluetooth, it's not always easy to decipher and know it's not the relative.
Mm.
Interesting.
I'd say
So,
that's grimy.
and the thing is, don't give information until you've gotten enough information to know who you're talking to. Yeah.
Mm.
And if you have grandchildren, great grandchildren, or whatever out there who know your phone number, who call you on a regular, you probably would know their voice or recognize the number that comes up in the caller ID.
Hmm.
If you don't recognize the number, why would your relative call you from an unrecognized number and wait for you to announce their name? You
Mm.
know, oh, hi, Grandma. Uh, hmm, you there? Uh huh.
Hmm.
This is who? Who are you? Oh, you know me. We just talked last week. Yeah, yeah. Uh, about what? See, the point is
Mm.
verify who you're talking to. You know, if uh, caller ID. If it's somebody obviously you speak to on a regular basis, their name is going to pop up. If not, then you got to be careful because it be anybody out there. Just because it sound like little Johnny doesn't mean it's little Johnny. Then they ask you for money. Now, you know how I roll. Ain't no sense in asking me for no money because I ain't giving you none. You on your
Mhm.
own. Okay?
Mhm.
So, grandchild, great grandchild, great 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 grandchild. You gotta know who you're talking to. Yeah.
I'll do you one better. I'll be like, how much you want? Oh, $50? Oh yeah, yeah. Get that from your mama. She still owe me $50.
Oh,
Call me back and
mom.
she give it to you.
Yeah, mom is out at work. No, she ain't. She don't work.
Hmm.
I'm paying for your cell phone. Now what?
Hmm.
Anyway, let's go on to the next one. Number three on the list here. Let me see if I get this thing up. Um, Phishing. I hope that's how you pronounce it. Phishing.
It's pronounced fishing. The P is
Phishing.
like Phil, fish.
Yeah. Phishing is the use of fake emails or websites appearing to be real in an attempt to steal personal information. A fraudster will send an email looking almost identical to, let's say, a government agency, requesting personal information like social security numbers and bank account information. The IRS states that their investigators have seen a tremendous increase in phishing schemes utilizing emails, letters, texts, and links since 2020 in an effort to steal personal information. The IRS stresses it never initiates contact with taxpayers via email about their accounts. If you've seen an email from the IRS or any company or agency requesting your personal information, delete it immediately and definitely do not click on any links. If you feel uneasy, simply call your local IRS office or government agency on your own to see if they ever truly contacted you.
Hmm.
Now, I get emails from time to time, weekly, from PayPal International. And the line is someone tried to, when we want to confirm that your phone number that you just changed is your phone number, something to that effect.
Hmm.
And so I always respond back, I don't have an account with PayPal International. So if someone put a number in that account, call them and ask them what the hell do they want because I don't have an account there. We get emails from usually my spam box. Um, this is the Federal Bank of Nigeria.
Hmm.
Uh, Dear beneficiary, like benefit from who? I don't speak the language. I couldn't spell it if I had to. But yeah, and then the name that they put on there. This is uh, John Goodman Tutu. Who? Yeah, not it's a name that you would never see here in America. Not to be racist or whatever, but that's first place of recognition. Tell me your name. You know, my name is John Smith. Really? Okay. My name is Lawrence of Arabia. Uh, okay, good. So yeah, there's some dead giveaways, and then some of them are the grammar hasn't been checked because they have no idea of what grammar means in the English language. And then American English is not English, it's different. Okay. And so, if you look at it, you read it, and some words are spelled differently. The European version of program is different than the American version of program. In Europe, they spell it G-A Programme, program E. We spell it program, Programme. A.M. And there's some other words that are slightly different, you know, that just easily to pick up. You think, well, maybe it was just a typo. No, that's the way that they spell the word, and it means almost the same as what you think it does, almost.
Mhm.
So anyway, next topic, or you got something you want to add?
Oh no, next topic, next scam.
Okay. Number 4, unscrupulous financial advisors. Gideon Shine, a former partner with Eddie and Shine in-house, in-home administrators for seniors, says seniors have to be careful even with trusted professionals. He cites an example of a client who had been paying thousands, tens of thousands extra per month to a financial advisor who had known the client's father. My clients George, a retired math professor, and Elaine, a homemaker, had their money with an institution for almost 20 years. I had been working for them for 2 years when their daughter called and asked me why her parents had spent so much money last year. I've informed her that they did not. She then asked, "What have I been doing with $40,000 per month?" Shine says. I told her that I only get 20,000. Since that since the distributions were regular and sufficient, I had never asked to see a statement. It turns out that their financial advisor had been taking $20,000 out of the distributions for himself. This had been going on for years. Their advisor was convicted of fraud and embezzlement by Shine's company, able to recover 70% of the money taken. It's always important to pay close attention to the money coming in and going out of your investment accounts.
Mhm.
Yeah, tough situation,
Yep.
because now it's like, well, how did that person get enough information from me to pull this off? You know, they didn't just pick up a dictionary somewhere and, oh, this is what their account, this is what they've been spending, figure out how to get more out of them. Um, it's tough because you want to keep your personal financial information private, and the people that you share it with, you want to be able to trust.
Mhm.
And I tell you, there's so many people walking around here with, oh, I got a license for this and license for that, and it's just a piece of paper that they printed off the internet. So you gotta be proactive. You know, get
Mhm.
up and go to their office, call their office on off hours, and talk to somebody there to find out if they actually work there. Little things like that there, because you can only lose your money once. Once it's gone, it's gone. You know?
Mhm.
So as you
Yep.
get older, you got to get wiser and a little more picky about things, not be
Yep.
so comfortable.
Well, there's a saying, trust but verify. I
Trust
mean,
but verify.
even if you trust the person, let me see those receipts. Let me see where my money going. I mean, I don't have to check it every day, but if I check it once a month, if I'm comfortable checking it once a month, okay, you prove me yourself. I'll just check it every three months. But if something look fishy, then I'm going back to checking it once a month. you know, and if you're doing something fishy with it, then I have to fire you. I mean, it's not that I want to, it's I got to because I got to be smart.
Number 5, prescription and anti-aging drug scams. Now this one is important.
Mm.
Because of the rising cost of some prescription drugs, senior citizens are going online to look for cheaper drugs. But these drugs can be counterfeit, making the scam extremely dangerous. Or in another iteration of the prescription drug scam, the fraudsters just take the money without delivering the drugs. The same goes with some anti-aging products, Merck says. Whether it's fake Botox or bogus homeopathic remedies, seniors are being targeted by fraudsters offering anti-aging products. If
mm,
it's too good to be true, it is, Merck says. Merck advises seniors who are faced with dubious transactions or products to contact their local police department. Many police departments have a fraud unit. If excuse me, if not, they likely will refer them to the state police or FBI.
mm,
Fraud units at the police department. I've seen that.
mm, mm,
It's always, kind of like over in the back somewhere. You see that. But they
mm,
don't have any shows on fraud. They have shows on, well, they do have some shows on fraud, but mostly on homicide, that kind of a thing.
mm.
Uh, and you learn a lot about homicide, which is usually the result of a fraud. Get the fraudsters first.
Mm,
Uh, all right, let's move on here. Number 6, obituary scams. In the obituary scam, con artists read obituaries from the local paper and call the deceased relatives, family, and demand money for supposed outstanding debt that the deceased left behind. Another version of this scam is when fraudsters read the obituaries to pinpoint recent widows as targets. After identifying their next victim, a messenger arrives at the home of the recent widow with a cash on delivery package, claiming the recently deceased spouse ordered something and then demands immediate payment. After taking the money, the messengers go long gone before the victim realizes the box contains old magazines or newspapers that are worthless. Scammers in this case are identifying targets and preying on them during a vulnerable state. Sometimes when we are in a state of grief, we act quickly under all the emotions we are experiencing and do not think through the situation. So keep in mind that legitimate companies do not operate by intimidating or threatening you. If someone calls unsolicited, stating they are from the bank and that there is a problem with the account, hang up. Then call the bank using the telephone number from a bank statement to find out if there is really an issue with the account. Do not give any personal or financial information over the phone to anyone requesting information about the deceased. To prevent this kind of scam, pay attention to the information you put in the obituary. Everything you publish will be public. Scammers will stop at nothing to steal from you, and they will use your vulnerability to their advantage. Gee,
I mean, it's
benefiting from the dead.
and the living because they're capitalizing on that death to take from the vulnerable family members. That's obviously got more important things on their mind than to worry about this. You trying to charge $200 for a package that my dead spouse is sent to me from the grave, and I'm like, whoa, wow, she thought of me even in death, and I spend the $200, and then there's some old man, shoot, I be trying to track that dude down. Mhm. Be another
Well,
homicide show.
they
So,
didn't, they didn't pull up in a FedEx truck, so now what?
mhm. That's what I'm saying. That's a feeling. I mean, I'm not saying that would happen, but yeah, it's people. People will take advantage of you in certain conditions. Some people they get you mad, and you can't think straight, and you're working off emotions. When we work off emotions, like women, unfortunately, they have the luxury of feeling with their emotions and thinking with their emotions and acting on their emotions. Us as men, we get charged with a higher calling. We have to be emotionless. Even though we have emotions, we can't show our emotions because we have to think clear and we have to provide protection and security for everybody. So yeah, you have to express your emotions from time to time, but you can't let it invade your judgment. Because once you let it impair your judgment, we're all at risk. You know.
Well, you're right. You have to. Sometimes you just have to say, you have to get back to me, or leave your card. I'll get back to you. I'm just not focused on that right now.
Hmm.
But these scams work because people fall prey. Um, okay. Next item: funeral scams. Even some shady funeral homes have been caught doing dishonest business. They will have seniors buy the most expensive casket, even if they are performing a cremation.
Hmm.
They will they will say things like, "You need this casket because you want to be able to remember them in this way." When going to a funeral home, it's best to have all the questions you want answered written down ahead of time. Seniors should give themselves time to do their research. Go with a family member or a close friend. I can understand that. You
Yeah.
know, if you haven't been in that situation before, you really probably don't know what questions to ask or
Hmm.
what to expect. You just assume that just because this person on the other side of the desk is so nice and it's so quiet and calm in your time of grief that you can trust them.
Hmm.
And the reality is that's not necessarily always the case.
Hmm.
You have to be on your P's and Q's all the time, especially when you're in a vulnerable state.
Hmm.
So, take somebody with you. I mean, somebody that you can work with, not somebody who's going to, make all the decisions because they think they're important.
Yeah.
Because they're just making decisions based on what they think and they don't know squat. You just brought them along.
I will say, can I throw something in on there?
Sure.
We talked about planning before, and you can't plan for events like that of what day they're going to happen, but you can actually have in your mind a list of things that you want to accomplish instead of trusting just that one nursing home. How about saying, you know what, if this ever comes up, I'm gonna check the next three closest funeral homes to see, what they're actually offering. Because if this one is trying to get over, you know, that's when you're gonna find out. But if you only go to one, they're not going to sit there and outright tell you, yeah, I'm overcharging you, you know. But if you got the same casket at three different locations, the price is probably going to vary, or it's going to be exactly the same. And then that way, at least either all three of them are crooked or all three of them are trustworthy. Just saying.
Well, what's interesting is uh, casket versus cremation.
Hmm.
Cremation is definitely way cheaper.
Hmm.
But the point about a casket is you're going to see a body in the casket and put in the ground. And that's probably the last time you'll ever see that casket.
Hmm.
Why am I spending $8,000 or $9,000 for a casket? They're just going to bury it. You put that boy in a plastic bag, be fine. They ain't going to complain. Yeah, really.
Well,
Yeah,
well,
and you could might rent the casket for the day, the show. Okay. What's the day rate? You know?
you just started a new industry.
Yeah, you start saying stuff like that, then they're gonna run you out of there real quick.
Mm.
And say, look, you just wasted my time, and that's not the right one
Mm.
because people who are cheap, don't have the money or whatever. Look, I ain't got $8,000 to bury this guy with. Well, why don't you cremate us? $1,200, 500, $1,500, or whatever like that. There, okay. That's something that you could probably pass the hat around and come up with that. I say that because I've been through that, you know, and trust
Mm.
me, some people, it don't matter who died, they ain't coming up with no money.
Mm.
But they're going to expect you to show up at their funeral and bring a check. See, you know, like, oh, and you can't say nothing to them because now they dead. Let me go on. Number 8, Medicare card scams. This scam involves fraudsters calling, emailing, and even knocking on doors claiming to be from Medicare. The criminals will then offer health services only if you verify your Medicare ID number, says AARP.
Mm.
The scam began during the pandemic with fraudsters claiming to provide vaccine and other pandemic related health services and continues to use the guise of seeking to provide help to senior citizens with the intent, to steal their identities. The AARP stresses that Medicare will never contact you about your personal information in any capacity without your permission. And if you believe you might have been the victim of this fraud, to immediately hang up the phone, delete the email, or close the door.
Mm.
So, yeah, they're out there and they're really trying hard. But
Mm-hmm.
some of these organizations, legitimate organizations, some things they just don't do. Like we talked about earlier about the IRS. They're not going to send you an email. You know, what they do, they send you behind a letter. Okay, and you can look. There's no postage on it. It's a stamp on there, not a stamp, but
Mm-hmm.
the stamp thing that it came from. The IRS, and then you know they want you to get online, identify yourself, open up a little account with them, you know, and they'll send you emails that way. But any emails they send you from the IRS,
Mm-hmm.
you can only access them if you go back into your account. And then they'll email you. Then they'll mail you a letter. So whatever they say, you know, they're going to validate it in writing on
Mm-hmm.
paper afterwards.
Yep.
Okay. There's 2, 3 left, but I think we did enough. You know, that's good. We'll save some for later.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, as I said earlier, trust but verify. I mean, even like I said, they had a trusted individual. It's their fiduciary responsibility to get the work in your best interest, but they're not, and that's definitely something that is not good, and they can be sued and probably processed for some criminal charges if they do such things. So, but you need to stay on top of your stuff. It's your stuff. The ultimate responsibility is on you to make sure and protect your stuff.
okay. So now if you give your announcement, we can get up out of here.
All right. We would like to extend the opportunity to our viewers. If you like our content, please let us know in the comment section. If you'd like to be on the panel, or if you have a topic that you would like us to discuss, please let us know in the comment section as well. And you can like and subscribe to us on our YouTube channel.
The African American Shopping Network. Okay. So we'll see you again next week, God willing, and the creek don't rise.
And the creek don't rise.